My name is Catherine, and today I learned the college fund I spent 18 years building for my daughter, Emily, is gone. Every penny, drained by my sister-in-law, Linda, who funneled the money into her own children's accounts. Family helps family, my husband Mark said, staring at the floor. Emily can take out loans if she needs to. The betrayal still burns in my chest as I sit in my car outside Emily's high school. She's about to hop in, glowing from her final college tour at Stanford, her dream school since she was 12. She doesn't know yet. She doesn't know that the future I promised her has been stolen by the people who should have protected it. I remember the day I opened that college fund. Emily had just been born, and while other mothers rested in hospital beds, I filled out paperwork. I wanted my daughter to have every opportunity I'd never had. My parents worked themselves to the bone in restaurants to put me through community college. I vowed Emily would have more. For 18 years, I sacrificed. Bonuses, tax refunds, overtime, every dollar went into that account. While Mark climbed the corporate ladder at his family's import business, I took on extra accounting clients, building the nest egg brick by brick. Linda came into the picture 10 years ago, marrying Mark's brother Tom. From the start, she treated life like a stage. Designer clothes, exotic vacations, luxury cars, on a salary that barely covered their mortgage. I should have seen the signs. "Catherine, you're so frugal," Linda would say, watching me clip coupons at family dinners. "Don't you want to live a little?" What she never understood was that I was living for my daughter's future. Last week, that future unraveled. Emily and I went to the bank to convert her college fund into tuition payments. The account was empty. "There must be a mistake," I stammered to the banker, but there wasn't. Every dollar, $286,000, had been transferred 3 days earlier to 2 separate accounts. I called Mark, panicked. Someone's stolen Emily's college fund. His response chilled me. "Kat, we need to talk about that." "What do you mean, talk about that?" My voice shook. "Linda needed help with the twins' private school tuition," he said slowly. "It's just temporary." Temporary? I could barely breathe. "Mark, that was Emily's entire future." "Lower your voice," he snapped. "You're overreacting. Linda promised to pay it back. The twins start at Wellington Academy next month, and you know how expensive private school is." "Pay it back? Emily starts college in 4 months." "She's smart," he said, dismissive. "She'll get scholarships, or take out loans." At the next family dinner, I confronted Linda. She looked up from her wine glass, utterly unbothered. "Catherine," she said, voice syrupy, "you have to understand. The twins are at such a crucial age for development. Emily's already so bright, she'll thrive no matter where she goes." Mark's parents said nothing. Tom stared at his plate. And Mark, my husband, stood beside Linda, his arm around her, and said the words I'll never forget. "Family helps family, Kat. We need to support each other." Support each other, as if Emily and I didn't count. Now Emily bounces out of school, her Stanford sweatshirt proudly on display, her acceptance letter likely tucked in her backpack. She slides into the car, bubbling over with excitement about the campus and her plans for the fall. I nod and smile, my heart breaking. She doesn't know yet. But I make a silent vow as she chatters away. This isn't over. Linda and Mark may think they've won, but they've underestimated me. They've underestimated how far a mother will go to protect her child's future. I may have lost this battle, but the war has just begun. That night, after Emily went to bed, I sat alone at the kitchen table, surrounded by bank statements and legal documents. My hands trembled as I pieced together the full extent of Linda's deception. This wasn't just a single transfer. She had systematically drained the account over months. Small withdrawals at first, growing bolder with time. Each transfer required Mark's signature. He hadn't just allowed this, he had helped her steal from his own daughter. Still obsessing over this, Mark's voice startled me. He stood in the doorway, loosening his tie. "Another late night at the family business. Linda says you're making her kids uncomfortable," he added, his tone accusing. "You barely spoke at dinner last week." I stared at him, this man I had trusted for 20 years, now unrecognizable. "Her kids? What about your child, Mark? What about Emily?" He sighed, that patronizing sound I'd grown to hate. "Emily's fine. She's always been fine. But the twins need private schools, private tutors, and a mother who spends $12,000 at Gucci the day after stealing $50,000 from Emily's fund. I snapped, thrusting a bank statement toward him. Explain how that fits into their development. His face darkened. You've been digging into Linda's finances. This is why we couldn't tell you beforehand. You're too emotional about money. Emotional? I shot to my feet, the chair scraping loudly against the floor. This isn't about money, Mark. This is about trust, about our daughter's future, our family's future. Keep your voice down, he hissed. Emily will hear you. Maybe she should. My voice broke with rage. Maybe she should know how her father and aunt destroyed her dreams. Mark crossed the room in 2 strides, grabbing my arm. His grip was painfully tight. You will not tell Emily anything. This is a family matter, and we'll handle it as a family. I wrenched my arm free, my voice deadly calm. You're right. I will handle it as a family, as Emily's family, because right now, you're acting like Linda's family, not ours. The next morning, I called in sick and made 2 appointments, one with a lawyer, the other with a forensic accountant. If Linda and Mark thought I'd roll over, they were about to learn what kind of fight they'd started. Sarah Chen, my lawyer, listened intently as I explained the situation, her face growing more serious with each detail. The good news, she said, is there's a clear paper trail. The bad news is your husband's access to the account makes this legally complicated. It's going to get messy. I don't care, I said firmly. Document everything, every transaction, every signature, every conversation. I want the whole truth. The forensic accountant's findings were even worse. Linda hadn't just stolen from Emily's college fund. She'd been siphoning money from the family business, using her position as head of accounts to cover her tracks. And the twins' private school story. A lie. They weren't even enrolled at Wellington Academy. Mom. Emily's voice jolted me from my thoughts. She stood in the doorway, her brow furrowed. Why are there so many calls from Stanford's financial aid office? My heart sank. I've been dreading this moment. Sweetie, we need to talk. We sat at the kitchen table, and I told her everything. As I spoke, her face went pale, her expression shifting from confusion to disbelief, and then to anger. But Aunt Linda, she said she was proud of me, Emily whispered, tears welling in her eyes. She said she wanted to help with my essay. I'm so sorry, baby, I said, reaching for her hand. She pulled away. Does Dad know? She asked, her voice trembling. Did he let this happen? I nodded, guilt choking me. Yes, he knew. But Emily, listen to me, this isn't over. I'm fighting this. I won't let them take your future away. Emily stood abruptly, tears streaming down her face. I hate them, she choked out. I hate all of them. She ran upstairs, slamming her door behind her. I wanted to go after her, but my phone buzzed. A text from Sarah, meeting tomorrow at 9. Bring all documentation. We found something big. As I lay in bed that night, listening to Emily's muffled sobs through the wall, my phone lit up again. This time, it was Linda. Family dinner tomorrow night. Mom and Dad expect everyone there. Time to put this silly drama behind us. Silly drama. Linda still thought she could brush this off, control the narrative, manipulate the family. But tomorrow, before dinner, I'd be in Sarah Chen's office, uncovering just how deep this betrayal ran. Linda wanted a family dinner. Fine. I'd show up. But it wouldn't go the way she expected. Because as Linda loved to remind me, family helps family, and I was about to help her understand exactly what happens when you cross a mother protecting her child. Sarah Chen's office was deathly quiet as she spread the documents across her desk. My heart pounded as I scanned the forensic accountant's final report. It's worse than we thought, Sarah said, her voice low. Linda hasn't just been stealing from your daughter's college fund. She's been embezzling from the family business for years. The designer clothes, the luxury car, the exotic vacations, all of it paid for with company money. She's been falsifying records to cover her tracks. My stomach turned. Does Tom know? My father-in-law? Sarah shook her head. According to these records, only Linda and Mark were aware. Your husband's been helping her, likely in exchange for her helping him skim funds from the company too. The pieces snapped into place. Mark's late nights, his defensiveness, his insistence on controlling our finances. How much are we talking about? I whispered. Nearly $2 million over 5 years, she said grimly. I left Sarah's office with a file full of evidence in a single focus. The family dinner wasn't just about Emily's college fund anymore. It was about exposing years of betrayal. At home, I found Emily packing boxes in her room. "Honey, what's going on?" "I applied for student loans," she said without looking at me. "I'm deferring Stanford for a year. I'll work full-time and maybe take a few community college classes." Her voice cracked. "I can't stay here, Mom. I can't look at Dad or Aunt Linda anymore." I sat on the bed beside her. "Emily, before you make any decisions, I need you to come to dinner tonight." She shook her head, her expression wary. "I can't." I took her hand, squeezing it gently. "Trust me on this. Just this once." That evening we arrived at my in-laws' house. Everyone was already seated. Linda, dressed in what I now knew was a designer dress bought with stolen money, was laughing loudly at the center of attention. Mark sat beside her, a faint smirk on his face. "Catherine, Emily," my mother-in-law exclaimed. "We were just discussing the twins' exciting news. They've been accepted into Wellington Academy's gifted program." Linda beamed, clasping her hands theatrically. "It's such an exclusive program. The tuition is astronomical, but you know what they say, you have to invest in your children's future, right, Catherine?" I forced a smile as I set my briefcase on the table. "Funny you should mention investing in children's futures, Linda. I've been doing a bit of that myself lately." The room fell silent as I opened the briefcase and began pulling out documents. "For instance, I hired a forensic accountant," I said, holding up a stack of papers. "Would you like to know what he found?" Linda's smile faltered. Mark shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Catherine, this isn't the time," Mark started, but I cut him off. "It's exactly the time. After all, family helps family, right? So let me help by sharing what I've learned about our family business." I laid out the evidence: bank statements, falsified expense reports, wire transfers. Each paper hit the table like a gavel. $2 million, Linda. That's how much you've stolen. And Mark, $500,000 in fake consulting fees. I wonder what Dad would say about that. My father-in-law's face turned crimson. "Linda, what is she talking about?" "She's lying," Linda screeched. "Mark, tell them she's lying." But Mark's gaze was fixed on the documents, his face pale. I pressed on. "The police have copies of everything. So does the IRS. My lawyer, Sarah Chen, is filing charges tomorrow morning. Unless..." "Unless what?" Linda whispered, her voice trembling. I pulled out one final document. "Unless you sign this. A full confession. Full restitution, including Emily's college fund, with interest. You have 12 hours to transfer everything back, or this goes to the authorities." Linda's hands shook as she stared at the paper. "You're bluffing." I met her eyes, unflinching. "Try me. You stole my daughter's future. Did you really think I wouldn't fight back?" Chaos erupted. My father-in-law demanded answers only to collapse into silence when the scale of the theft became clear. The gifted program was a lie. Linda had spent the supposed tuition money on herself. Mark begged for forgiveness, claiming he only helped Linda to keep peace in the family. But as Emily later said, he chose his peace over his daughter's future. Linda signed the confession. Every penny of Emily's fund was returned with interest. She and Mark now face company sanctions and potential criminal charges. Family ties may run deep, but $2 million cuts deeper. That night, Emily and I packed our things and left. She's starting at Stanford this fall, her dreams restored. Mark sends emails begging for a second chance, but some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. Yesterday, Linda had the audacity to send me a letter. "You've ruined my life. How could you do this to family?" I sent back a single sentence. "I did exactly what you taught me. I put my child first." Sometimes family isn't who you're born into, but who stands by you when it matters. And sometimes the best revenge isn't just surviving betrayal, it's thriving in spite of it. Emily and I are having dinner tonight to celebrate her Stanford orientation. It's just the two of us, but we've learned something important. A family of two, built on love and trust, is worth far more than a house full of lies. To anyone who's ever been betrayed and told to keep the peace, don't. Peace isn't worth your dreams. Stand up, fight back, because real family would never ask you to sacrifice your future for their comfort. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and doing what's right? What would you have done in my place? Share your story below.